what is your background and what's your story? I would love to have a quick snapshot of it from your lens.
Sure. So I'll keep it short. 2008, I did graduated with a dual degree and joined a consulting firm, which was fine. So after college, two things happen when you take up a job. You realize this sucks, I want to do something else, or you like, wow, so cool that you, especially, I mean, today these people are starting up, but in at least 2008, maybe one or two guys were starting up, but we would just go for placement and take up jobs. So from that perspective, I felt I was lucky that the job, and I did an internship at a PPO, but that job was pretty cool and nice. But nobody likes to be in their first job. Some people do, but some of us get bored of it.
Yeah.
So that led to this journey of what to do next. Given that I'm actually liking it, but I just got placed here. So should I be doing something else? Go and do an MBA and then something else? Personally, back then I wasn't thinking so much about entrepreneurship or had a very specific passion to chase for. So it's a weird state. You don't really know what you want, but there's this feeling that kuch to aur kar sakte. That is what led to my journey of the last 12 years now, right? Whatever, 8 to I've stopped counting.
14
for a decade or something.
Yeah.
First step was to take a break from consulting. Because that job, I liked it, plus there was enough work. Because when you like it, more work comes. So there was no space for me to, beyond weekend and cribbing about that I should do something, there was no space to actually really take a better first call. And in that space, people, if you don't want to break, then you do an MBA and just assume that I will like that other job, which I didn't want to go for. How do I take a break? It took 2 years to figure out what break would work out for me, and I needed to make some money because I don't come from a family which can just chill for a year and then too many questions to be answered from parents' POV. So I thought I'll do IIT coaching, but then some friend said you can try wedding photography. Candid is picking up. Don't ask me why he said that. Maybe I had a camera and I was taking some photos. I had no photography passion, which people assume. That I did a MVP of this potential business while in consulting and realized that that's actually true. Just go ahead, and it took me 2 weeks to optimize Google. Just put 5 friends' weddings photos. This is 2012. In 2012, it was so easy. I mean, my photos were good enough. I looked at the best photographers. I like to top 10 mein rank kar hi raha hai. Like, not only that organically, but also in terms of quality, I was sort of satisfied. So that's how the journey one begins.
And you must be labeled as an IIT and wedding photographer, I'm sure.
वो मैं खुद ही अपने आप को लेबल कर लिया. So I called myself the top. I called whatever. I wanted a break. I didn't care about anything else. And people are coming and looking at the pictures and deliver what you're promising. So what would be wrong is putting someone else's pictures. Beyond that, and I would go and write, hey guys, you're looking at this picture, the headline is crappy and I know that for SEO I have done. I would just be very honest about all of that. I would literally say that these are the pictures, if you like it, I'll do the job. Anyway, that picked up very quickly, very easily. And I'm like, now I'm going to take a break. I went to my company. There was no sabbatical policy, but I was doing so good that they created one. The HR said, fine, tu ja. Leave without pay.
And we want you.
I mean, I was sorted in that company. I knew I could come back any day. I was doing really good. I had like back-to-back 2 promotions. I was already a manager, like 3 steps away from being a partner. You know that or 5-6 saal teka, so that's what your life is. Beyond a point, the stakes are too high. You could, you pivot little early in career, or then once you've already achieved enough, like leader ban gaye to ab non-profit karenge. So I was in the early phase, and I knew that if not now, again, this same thing will happen after 8-10 years. Let's just do it now. So I get married, I move to Goa. I'm still a wedding photographer. That's working fine. A year happens. The company wants to know if I want to go back. I'm like, cash was no more a problem. What to do next was still a problem. So that is phase 1. In phase 2, because cash was not a problem, I became a little lazy in figuring out the next step. But eventually it happened. It took me another 2-3 years. But 2014, I made my first 3-minute story. The same friend, my school friend Nilab, who said that try wedding photographer. He is the one who basically tells me what next to do. So he said, try documentary films. I'm like, why? Like, what do you see in me? He said, tera paas camera hai. I have a subject, go and shoot. That's all.
Wow.
That led to me this journey, which I realized, shit, storytelling is so hard. I don't know how to do it. And I could see how in my consulting, that was a weak area. All this analysis is fine, but what is that 2-line story you're giving a client? And my partner kept giving hints on that you need to sort of, that is what consulting is about, right? Eventually, all that you do, if you can't explain what you mean by it, people will build their own story. If you show a table, somebody will build their own story. So don't show a table. People have to trust you with what the story is, and then they can verify that with the table. And anyway, now I can think about all of that. But in early career,
until now, you hadn't fallen in love with storytelling.
No.
Oh.
I mean, some people take photos and say visual storytelling. Storytelling is a very abused word, right? Everything is storytelling. So, I mean, I would have said the word, used the word, but today I really know what it means, and I'm sure that a lot of people watching it still don't know what it means. That's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's journey, story and storytelling, two different things, first of all, but fine. So just quickly, I think it's becoming long, but to wrap it up, so 3-minute story is basically a short format documentary story. The reason it's short is because I could not figure out how to make anything longer. I'm like, ऐसे storytelling नहीं आता है. It's a very strategic call.
I can understand.
I had wasted a group of guys जिनके ऊपर मैं documentary film बना रहा था their time, and like, यार, I should give them something. It's odd. They will feel like I was just doing time pass. And so I thought, what can I do with all that I've shot and understood, and I have no clue. I said, first thing I could do is, what is the shortest span of time in some video can be pulled off? This is 2012. My YouTube channel is pretty old, but I wasn't even on YouTube. This is not that content era where everybody was putting out content, frankly. Yeah. So my stuff was going on Vimeo and stuff. No shorts.
One of the OGs, I would say.
No Instagram Reels and all of that. So this is a different era where YouTube has this long format videos, frankly. So I'm like, 1 minute is too short, 2 minutes, maybe 3 sounded like a decent duration in which I can finish off one topic, right? So I did that. Nobody had made a story on that topic, which was about why some people still shoot on film cameras. So for some reason that became viral in the photography circuit. Some girls saw it and they said, we are doing this workshop in Bangalore, do that. That story became randomly viral on Vimeo, some 1 million views, which is weird. Like, people have moved on from Vimeo since then. Anyway, so I got a lot of these free assignments, ended up traveling to, I think, Uganda for a paid assignment just by pushing it. Within 10 stories, I ended up telling startups, their product should have a story. You can have a product demo video, but can I do that for you? So Flinto Box was a company in Chennai. Anyway, so that journey got started from there, which continued till last year and still has. So I have been making a lot of, this became a way to make brand films. Eventually got into ads also because people said, you understand our thing better, and can we write scripts? So I worked with script writers, I started working with actors, so now I have done all of that. And because essentially storytelling is the underlying theme, I personally do like documentaries, but sometimes there is this script use case, which it's easy to write a script because in 10 seconds you want to tell it, too much control needs to go in it. Anyway, so that is the storytelling journey. And last year, all this while, Amrit, my great friend, and we graduated together, and he started up his startup journey right from the beginning. For about a year, he was in Hindustan Lever, and then since then he has been a startup guy. He started online library, pivoted to a bunch of different things. Then he passed on his startup to somebody else, his other partners, and he himself started working in other startups to see what else is there out there, and mostly tech startups, and mostly in marketing roles and stuff. So last year he left his previous company. He was a vice president and taking care of marketing and growth there. And because we had been in touch throughout, often wherever he worked, both his startups and the places where he joined as an employee, he would end up involving me for some video content, some brainstorming content. So we just knew exactly what both of us were up to. So in October, we were like, there is this feeling that we got.
So this is where the story of CoreVoice begins.
Yes. So I had identified a clear problem, and he agreed with that a lot of companies who approach me still don't know how to make good use of the work that I do. Their marketing team is not up to and the problem is I come from a strategy consulting background and a filmmaker. So I can see the problem with the marketing team. And often I would realize that they are asking me stuff which is not my scope of work. So it looked like, somebody needs to help these guys with right growth strategy, right marketing thinking. And Amrit was doing in his company anyway. So I said, Amrit, let's just do it together, because sometimes we are good at certain things, but we want to figure out what we want to focus on. So I know I'm good at strategy, and if the strategy is good in the setup where I'm creating content, my content also will be used better, but I can't do everything. So that's how Amrit and I came together. I really genuinely enjoy creating content. Like, I could die doing that and can do that every single day. Amrit enjoys solving problems. He also loves writing, and he is a great creator. Not necessarily his creation is in the form of videos or photos, but he's a great writer. But he's a creative person in general. So when we brainstorm creatively, be it looking at an edit or looking at a strategy, we love doing that. And then when it comes to execution of tasks, we both can split sometimes. So we both have this creative aspect, getting things done aspect, and generally been operating in the marketing, branding, growth domain for a long time. So initially we thought it's just two of us freelance together and then work with other freelancers. This was the idea.
But then your hands got too full too soon.
Yeah, it became obvious that was not going to work. So our next idea is not make it too big. We are at about 7 people right now. We want to sort of, I mean, at least I personally want to close it at 30. I read this book called A Company of One, forgot the author, but that author talks about how to live a good life, doing work that you like, enough money to go skiing. You really don't need a unicorn, okay? And I sort of agree with that philosophy. Amrit is a little open about that. He's generally open about things and doesn't become too rigid. So that's where it is. Once we reach 30, we'll see if there's a pushback from him or my views change. But so far, that's the journey, Nivedan.
No, that sounds great. Actually, this is quite I would say, I mean, as an outsider, maybe not for you, but as an outsider, it looks like, you've traversed a bunch of interesting hills and mountains and different journeys you've had via through filmmaking or consulting, your strategic consulting. And now that the two of you have paired up to solve bigger problems outside your own immediate circles, I think you're helping out startups sort their strategy and marketing, all of that.